And welcome back to the Christmas series, and today is January 7th. 2023, like any other year, seemed eventful. When you step back to take a look at the world in a wider perspective, it seems like there were so many things going on, you'd have a spinning head. But at the local level, it felt quiet. Now, compared to 2021 and 2022, this felt like a return to normalcy. A full return to normalcy. A return to actual normalcy, because 2022 was a tentative move where we weren't sure if things really were back to normal or not. And even though the spectre of COVID-19 will still haunt in the background, it's not like we're helpless. I mean, we found a way to combat the threat and bring it under control. It took us a year and a half to get to this point where we can sort of remember what life was like before the pandemic. I mean, it's a pale copy of those times, but we'll take it. But 2023 seems like a dangerous year too. The war in Ukraine is still slugging on as of today. Israel's still pushing to Gaza, and there's no sign that they'll stop, in spite of whatever the IDF is saying. And it feels like things will get more and more dangerous as the year progresses. Again, at the local level, it feels like things are as normal as possible. And that's a sentiment we'll continue to cling to desperately, however you may want to judge. But can I just say that there's something about the past that comforts us? I mean, I get why Linus loves his blanket now. And I wrote about it in a previous essay, how in retrospect the past got it right. Things were a lot more free back then, and people could just up and go anywhere without fear or hindrance. I mean, now you can't seem to do that. I mean, well, that's not entirely true, but there just seems to be a lot more paperwork you gotta go through just to do the same thing that you could do 10 years ago. I mean, even then, life 20 years ago was much more easier than it was 10 years ago. So, you wonder sometimes if progress just makes things more complicated. 2023, like any other year, felt both eventful and mundane. But isn't that the way life is? I really can't say this year will be any better than last year, but I don't think it'll be any worse, unless North Korea finally decides to go nuclear, literally and figuratively, and just end it all. And let's not forget the culture wars shows no signs of stopping. Even if we change the man at the top and clean house in Washington, the war will rage on as you have pockets of action erupting everywhere and parts of the country becoming bastions for either the far left or the far right. But for those in the middle, we can only sit back and wonder to ourselves if we're actually going to take our resolution seriously this time. Because in the end, we can only control what we can control.